I'm here with the Star Nation gathering to show some of the secrets of the pyramids that I've been able to uncover, the things that people have been searching for 5,000 years. One of the things that's important, that's a common thread that exists through all cultures and all nations that's coming right back at this moment, especially through these star glyphs, is that very sacred symbols that go back thousands of years to the Native American way are surfacing again, reminding us of these qualities that people have forgotten about. This same thread exists in Egypt, and I have discovered those same understandings within the pyramids as well. Those same things exist in the Hindu, the Buddhist, and all across our world, reawakening us again, reminding us of the qualities that are important to us. This inner understanding and connection to our heart and to our inner selves. These symbols are very basic symbols of which we exist within our construction. We as beings have an innate understanding of how these symbols relate to ourselves. And when we see symbols that represent aspects of harmony that exist within us, then what it does is it realigns those energies. It reminds us about these things that are an important part of our world. When we've been able to raise this vibration, this understanding and these connections, we can understand the deeper path that goes back to the beginning of our ancestors, and at the same time understand the things that expand way out into the universe, that a language and understanding that people have long forgotten. Bringing back the magical things that should be existing in people's world now, that have just fallen to the wayside, and now we can reawaken those one more time. One of the things that I'm always talking about in my ceremonies that are important for assisting us in making these sacred connections is people are trying to learn one more time how to understand to connect our heartbeat to the heartbeat of the Earth Mother, how to understand to connect our heartbeat to the heartbeat of Father Sky, reminding us that we're one and all tied together, creating a sacred connection between all things. All people possess this, and at this time, the world is trying to remember this sacred connection that exists through everything. For me, it's about making these sacred connections that have been a part of my ancestors since the beginning of time. Making these sacred connections to the earth and the sky and the stars.
Amitakiapi, Achajikidi Makupi, Mamli Jaja Zizi. My name is Chief Golden Light Eagle from the Yankton Sioux Reservation.
My name is Reynolds Kamakabiba Ole. I am known as Nahoku Alakaika by Kapu Otarani. I am the leader of the stars who take care of the secret waters of the heavens.
Well, and now it's my relatives, my brothers and sisters. My name is Blue Thunder. I come from the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming.
My name is Ukwala, and I'm a member of the Havasupai tribe of the Grand Canyon.
Yes, my name is Bear Cloud. I'm Nai Kungska by blood.
Greetings. My name is Amor Luz, which in Spanish is love and light.
Aztec comes from the word Aztli, and it means instruments to harmonize. So to become an Aztec, you have to become an instrument of harmony. And when they were able to put the humans into the cycles of the day that you're born, and this is your quality, your potential, then they became those harmonious instruments. And so I believe that we all can become Aztec when we learn to be that harmonious instrument. Cool.
Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Boylan. I'm working with the great transition going on in our civilization at this moment. It'd be my pleasure to speak a little bit about my background. I have a PhD, a couple of master's degrees, baccalaureate obviously, Information that is most important in what I'm going to speak about today came not from psychology or anthropology or social sciences or philosophy, came from people who are informed, and to a very large degree from indigenous peoples with some specificity, the Hopi Nation and the Lakota Dakota, otherwise known as Sioux Nation. I want us to get back to that time when everybody is on the same page, knows this stuff is real, and can talk to their friends and neighbors about it. We are in a huge transition time. This is a time that was carried in the prophecies of the Hopi people and the Dakota Lakota Sioux Nation about a transition from fourth world to fifth world.
Every thought, every action. And this is like, in order to get into the new world that's coming, in the fifth sun, this is what's been given and mandated by the Great Spirit and Mother Earth, that if we choose to make it into this light, then the consciousness of humanity who chooses this information makes it into the light. The rest will go into chaotic times under the energy that's been given. So the energy becomes strong. Whatever a person thinks and believes, they become that. So it's already happening to many. There's a great life for those who understand these knowledges, and those who don't are still in chaos. And they'll go, whichever one they are, they'll become more as we move on. So the transitions are to give messages, to bring messages for people to consider. Not to tell anyone how to think, how to believe, what they need to do or what they have to do, but consider the how and why and the cause and effect of how peace works.
Keep them remembering. Keep the remembrances going. Keep them going, because that's what we're doing all the time. We're trying to remember. From the time we get here, we're trying to remember. We're trying to learn. Where do we come from? Why we're here? Where we're going? Who were we? What are we? Who am I? So remembrances are very important. That's part of your lifetime and lifetimes on Mother Earth. So it's continuous. Whether you're a rock, a tree, an eagle, it doesn't matter. You're there for a reason, for a memory to create this stability called harmony, love, balance, truth. Name it, all the virtues that we carry within ourselves. That's what we're here to walk with, and to help others, to awaken others to that same walk. So we need to continue and keep going till our last breath, reminding all of our relatives on Mother Earth to love our Mother, to love ourselves first. For they say, how could you love another if you don't know how to love yourself?
We're talking about clarity and how to connect to our true self or spiritual self, connecting to our sacred self, of bringing awareness of how to stay in our heart. For us, in our hearts is where the rose resides. The rose represents peace. In order to stay in our higher selves, we were given messages about the thorns on the rose. The thorns in life is pain, replaying ourselves over and over, being mad, being upset. In order to understand the thorns is to know what the rose represents in our heart, getting out of our head to stay in our heart, or to connect it to the Great Spirit, that we are the Spirit and born in the creation of the Creator, gods and goddesses upon earth. We can create beauty, and to not hold shame or guilt or pain towards ourselves or anyone else or any creation, any being upset over the oil spill or upset over any spiritual thing that's happening on earth, because everything's happening for a purpose to teach us for what not to do, for what to do. And so connected to our higher selves at all times, it's a teaching that these things would happen for us to teach us how to be peaceful and connected to our true self all the time. And for me, being connected to yourself is, for me, I replay my sentences. As I say them, they echo behind. And then I hear my words, I hear my thoughts. So to stay connected it's a free will planet. Giving information how and why things work, the cause and effect of emotions and thoughts, and using the sacred words of getting rid of you should, you have to, you could do this, or you need to do this. That's taking people's power. And when I see these words in my own words, I reflect to them and change them. People don't really need to do anything. And by me saying you need to do this, you have to do that, I take their power away. Anyone who says that to me, they control my heart and I become two-hearted. So not to be the two-hearted person or to speak with two tongues. Recognizing every sentence, every word, to get it as perfect as you can and fine-tune it to the sacred languages of our tribes has those ways to do that. But within English, they got those little bywords here and there that we program ourselves, we program the environment, we program everything around us if we're not conscious to understanding that the words we speak has power. And for me, when I know that in my heart, and it's a knowing, and when you're spiritual, you don't want to hurt anything because your words carry power, so you stay as positive as you can, as sacred as you can, and walking in a gentle fashion with every footprint, every word, every thought, every action, every breath you put out, because all those things come back to you, and they also go out to the environment, goes into the wind, people breathe it in, they can become the negative or the positive. So that's why it's so important to stay connected to your heart, to the balance of the circle. As we work with the colors of the rainbows of light, connecting to our true self, to the serpent wisdom within, two energy spinning. That's the serpents. And become one under the colors of light. And we're all the rainbow children, the rainbow people. And the colors of light are the great spirit and our mother earth. What you give away, you get back. What do we get? Earthquakes, tornadoes, fires and floods, separation, and now Mother Earth is awakening. And so we paint a beautiful picture now. Whatever we think and paint becomes. And when we know that, we know what we got to do. It's a knowing. It's not a belief anymore. It's a knowing. So with that, blessings be to you, my brothers and sisters out there, and may we see you in the sacred circle around the sacred fire and our sacred ceremonies.
What does that mean? Fourth world is a wake-up call. That means that humanity previously has risen to a high point of civilization and crashed and burned back to the hunter-gatherer stage. 3 times humanity has evolved to a high level and crashed. We should therefore be humble and alert. As the present society, we've achieved a certain level of advanced culture and technology, that we need to be alert that we don't make the same mistake as our ancestors. The challenge for this generation right now, and this challenge is being played out among us, is whether we will successfully transition from our current fourth world society to fifth world, a reformed and transformed global human society, taking much better care of Mother Earth, or whether we will crash and burn like the societies before us. We have some guidance, and the oral traditions or prophecies handed down by the Hopi people and the Lakota Dakota Sioux people are an important guidepost in this. One of the main things they had to say is that their origins, their instructors, when their cultures were just being set up, before they were previous primitive people, but their cultures came together in terms of how to live, how to do architecture, how to understand their place in the universe, astronomy and so forth, when to plant, all that, came from star teachers, star visitor master teachers who came down and volunteered to teach these people. Among the Hopi, they were known as the Kachinas. Among the Lakota Dakota Sioux people, the one who is most principally remembered is White Buffalo Cap Woman. She was a Pleiadian master teacher who initially took on the form of a white buffalo calf to get the native people's attention. And then when they were ready, she turned her shape to a Pleiadian humanoid figure. Besides teaching them ceremonies and spirituality and their origin from the stars, that humans are a bioengineered species, the star visitors fashioned us from human primate with some star visitor higher intelligence genetics gene spliced in, that we were nurtured all the way along our path. And they've sent star visitors from time to time later to refine those teachings. But those teachings are what we need to pay attention to and get back to, because those are our guideposts for making this transition to fifth world, the reformed, transformed world, where we move from excessive materialism to a more spiritual focus. Instead of being so focused on what you can see in a microscope, recognize that there are in everybody psychic abilities to communicate and affect the surroundings around us by pure mental focused power. We need to see ourselves as a people who are rapidly heading towards a time when we will see the star nations return among us and recognize that we are about to become just the latest planetary civilizations to join the larger family of inhabited worlds out there.
What I would like to say is that the way one keeps their path clear on this space, to keep it tuned into the elements that are important to us, is to, one of the greatest tools possible is called humble gratitude. That the things that are crossing our path are supposed to be there. And as well as trusting one's journey, that you're on the right road. Through these elements and through this understanding of our connections to the earth and sky, opens up these doors so that we can make this journey according to how would best create the greatest walk on the earth mother that we can do at this time. As people begin to wake up, these star people begin to wake up, what's important is remembering the importance of connecting to the earth mother, the importance of connecting to the sky. And the way I do that, that's most important to me, is I connect my heartbeat to the heartbeat of the earth mother and to the heartbeat of Father Sky, like that, and create this connection. It ties it all together as one. Through this assistance allows me to journey the path of this earth mother in a way that is in flow with spirit in my walk.
You calm the energy, because on one side of the earth represents the other side, which we understand is a butterfly effect. So through these ways of communicating with each other, what happens on one side of the earth affects the other, just like the hands. One hand has to work overtime, it affects the left hand. Because of these things, there's 28 tribes within the Shoshone nations, like the Hopis, the Utes, the Paiutes, the Goshus, the Comanches, the Aztec, the Mayan, the Yaqui, the Lasino, the Serrano. 28 tribes similar that speak the same language, so they once took care of the energies in the North and the Central and South America. And the prophecies say that we'll merge the energies together of the bird nations, of the condor, the eagle, and the different birds, nations within the North and the South. So with the work that I'm representing and healing the environment, it's healing earthquakes, tornadoes, fires, and floods, and gentling down the energy of the great shifts that are ahead. As we make our transitions, this information that is brought through dreams and visions to myself and others, when we come together as one, like the 5 fingers on each hand, it completes the circle, and we become one.
Greetings. My name is Amor Luz, which in Spanish is love and light. Choose to say, I am, and I know I am here, and I know in my heart I am here for a purpose, and I know that my purpose is to be all that I can be. Start to communicate with yourself. As you communicate with yourself, you communicate with your soul, and your heart starts to connect to your mind. And that mind and the heart and the body activates itself. And in essence, you initiate yourself into becoming and knowing the spiritual being that you are. Because we are spiritual beings having a human existence.
Many of the ancient symbols explain these corridors and how we're connected to them. This magic that of connection to the earth and connecting to the sky. Many of our old symbols explain these elements, and as young people begin to connect into them and look into those qualities, a piece of them will remember about that sacred connection, the sacred understanding. A piece of them will remember. And people wake up slowly, and sometimes they cross a bridge for one reason or another and realize that there's something much more. Once they're on that path, then it's a process of teaching and understanding and being guided to find these elements that reconnect us all the time to the sky and to the earth, to help remind us continually, learning the aspects and importance of humble regard and the pathway of trust. So it's through these doorways that we can find these elements. It takes that person willing to go beyond that to see those connections and realize that there's something more there.
Obviously, the test before us to reform and transform our society to the fifth world, as Hopi and Lakota prophecies talked about, a much better extended family kind of global society where we all take care of each other and aware of each other. It's going to take some work. Who are going to be the workers? They are the star seeds and the star kids, as I call it. Or in some cases, a star visitor who lived on another world volunteered to incarnate this time as a human and come down and take on a human body and live among us, but bring enough of their higher consciousness and energy and what we would call psychic ability with them, that they can operate at a higher level here than the average human would.
For the longest time, we've been working on trying to change things and trying to make things happen, move, and we know we could affect. We know we could affect changes on the earth. We have the audacity, you could say, to think that, and that we can change things. But coming to a cycle, when we talk about the earth, I thought, well, let's get the people in order. Let's get the people back in, in rhythm, to get back in rhythm with the earth. But it was brought to my attention by Quetzal Mitlan, the precious woman of the place of transformation, when she reminded me that, well, the earth itself is a family as well. It's part of a family. And sometimes, how children affect their parents to such a way that the neighbors don't want to talk to them no more, or the family don't want to come because of the children. Well, I think that's what's happened here, that the children have been misbehaving on this earth, and the rest of the family, is not really in alignment. So it was really a surprise to me when it came to a realization that we might even be able to affect that big movement out there. And it was that big family. And I think that coming back a little bit to your question about the ceremonies and the sacred sites, I think that's a part of that, of tuning us into the rhythm of the rest of the cosmos. Okay, in other words, the family of the earth, her sisters, her brothers, the other planets, and the other solar beings out there, or stellar beings. And so I think that we can affect that. And maybe we work at that, like what we've been doing, and thank goodness for all these people throughout all these generations who have sat on top of these mountains and waited for the sun to come up to make sure that everything was going to be okay that day. I think that's what's been keeping it in balance up to now. So now we're coming to a point where we're gonna either take a step forward or stand still. Okay, but I think that this kind of work that's been done here, especially by the Star Family Gathering, is a real big step in getting the earth back into its rhythm as well. So in other words, not only do we as humans got to get back into rhythm with the earth, but we got to get the earth back in rhythm with its family as well.
It's as simple as that, because our choice empowers the energy that the universe holds for us into motion, which becomes emotion, energy in motion. But I would also like to offer a suggestion to see the beauty and the blessing in everything. Our experiences, whether they would be described as ups or downs, happy or sad, there is a blessing in each one of them, because each of those bad things or good things teach us something, and it strengthens our hearts, and it really also strengthens our minds, and it adds to our experience. So as eternal souls, we just continue to grow and expand, which is where the geometry of the flower of life comes in. And I suggest that you look at the flower of life. That's a sacred geometry. It starts off as one sphere, and then another sphere joins in and overlaps the first sphere. And in the middle is a vesica, where there's the creation, where there's the blessing. You can interact with other people like that, with plants, with animals, with insects, with all kinds of aspects of life. So in that lesson holds the key to the change by the choice, which becomes the vesica.
We're talking about the Aztec calendar, in particular when we look at the calendar system, and they call it the Aztec calendar. But before it was called the Aztec calendar, it's got its original name, and the original name is Tonal Maxiot. Tonal is the sun, the energy of the sun, and Maxiot is a pattern, like how to become like the sun. Okay? But by the time they come to the Tonal Maxiot, they created what we know now as the Aztec calendar. It took a long time, a lot of steps. And it began way, way back a long time ago with ancient people that we know as, we call Olmecat. And that comes from the word Oli, movement, and rope, Mecate. So those who began tying the movement of time, these are the Olmecat. And they began to measure time, measure themselves in the cosmos and the nature around them. And they recorded these times and these cycles. And then after that, oh yeah, by the way, an Olmecat is not necessarily a nationality or a people or a nation. There's just a knowledge, a space of time. And then comes Tolteca. And Toltec, that means these are the builders, the ones who build and found the precision in the measurement of time. And they build everything according to these precise measurements. And Toltec became known as those who do not settle for second best, those who will give their all to try to complete their mission. Not because of their own personal glory, but because of their personal responsibility to everything around them. And that's Toltec. And then comes the era that we call the Mayab, or the Maya, in the time of the measurements. The word Maya will bring you to a word that represents a net, something that says perimeters, the areas. And our grandfathers, the Maya, their main purpose and their main mission that they have with us was to go back to the beginning of this cycle and measure our cycle and prepare us for the coming of a new cycle, which will come up in 2012. So not only did they measure correctly the time, but they also measured when it began and when the new cycle begins again. So that's the Mayab. And then comes Aztec. And Aztec, the Aztec didn't come about until after they put all these measurements together, all these counts together, the culmination of all this knowledge from throughout the continent. It didn't happen in one place. It happened after many, many thousands of years of coming together throughout this continent, gathering together and coming to a conclusion. And then in approximately 1479, they built a stone that we know now as the Aztec calendar, and it became Aztec. Aztec comes from the word Aztli, and it means instruments to harmonize. So to become an Aztec, you have to become an instrument of harmony. And when they were able to put the humans into the cycles of the day that you're born, and this is your quality, your potential, then they became those harmonious instruments. And so I believe that we all can become Aztec when we learn to be that harmonious instrument.
So over these years, I've learned the terminologies of the white man, and it's been very helpful. And it's basically the same. Love. So we're in this together. The yellow man, the black man, all races. We're all speaking the same language of love when it comes from the heart. So at one time, the whale nation said, man has already murdered us. the way humanity is going in treating the nations of Mother Earth. The ones that are of 4 legs, the ones that crawl, the ones that swim, the ones that fly. We need their help. We need their guidance to get through our mistakes. We messed up Mars. We helped with the destruction of Lemuria, also with Moon and that of Atlantis. So we have to learn the lesson, because this is all we have, this Turtle Island, our mother here. We've got to create the awareness that we got to work together as a oneness, because the time of one is over. The time of the guru, the time of depending on everything outside of yourself is over. We have to work together as a collective. We learn and we're gifted with the knowledges of the buffalo, the elk, the deer, the owl, the eagle, the hawk. All our relatives had a special gift to us, which we used in a very respectful, loving way. And it was the way of the heart. And our relatives will not speak to you unless you're in the heart. So the whales, they love humanity. They know the future, and we know the future. But we don't like to look at our creation sometimes. But they know, and they're reminding us why they're releasing to us, human beings, information in the form of codes, light codes, which they have guarded for humanity for so many years, so many millenniums. Those of you that look at the sun and learn to listen to the sun from your heart and listen to the sun with your eyes and see the sun with your heart, will able to see those codes that the sun is gifting you. You have to raise your vibration to that of the whale relatives. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. Raise your vibration to that of your soul, and that of your light, the essence of this universe, love. Then that language will show itself to you. Then you ground them into Mother Earth. So during that time, many of our sun dancers over the years gifted this altar with codes so that you could see, you could feel, you could witness, and you could love again. Truly love. So our whale nations are working in that way just for that group of souls, the sun dancers. We have to be in a very special place again. This is why we fast 4 days, 4 nights by the light of the sun. For the light is your first food. The light is your first drink. The realities of the future. You are in that arena right now of spirit that work with Sirius, work with those planets and those star systems that prosper in the spirit of the whales and the spirit of the dolphins. The whales are here. You cannot see them, and maybe you can. You cannot hear them, maybe you can. Maybe you can't feel them, maybe you can. So there's many ways that the whales show themselves. They might show themselves through the speck of light of spirit. They'll show themselves how you understand this universe. So pay attention. And you pay attention from here. Forget about this. This doesn't know what's going on. So we need to stay in that element called heart. The element that so keeps this Mother Earth alive, keeps her very much alive for evolution. We're here to brighten the aura of Mother Earth, keep it bright, because our star relatives, our seven mastery realms, look upon Mother Earth, and by her aura, they know how humanity is prospered.
As we take you on your journey, if you have not started yet and you are awakening, these are the steps. Those that are coming in, we start with you and we recognize who you are. And then you hear everything, because that reminds you of what you had received from the very start. That's your second level. On your third level, you walk the path into your journey of becoming a star child. You can find the clarity that you need by allowing yourself to come closer to the people that are known in your area, that have been given an opportunity to share this information with you. You must start out really cleansing yourself and clearing yourself, coming in with a pure heart. This is so valuable at this time, because the pure heart is recognized by our star family.
For a better future for us and for our children, I think we need to start right away. We need to start looking at what's going on, and we need to start putting our foot down and say, you know what, we can't do these things that we're doing. You know, we can't just let it go by. So in other words, we're not taking responsibilities. We talk about problems and issues, but we continue contributing to those problems and issues instead of really taking a stand. Okay. So I think right now that if there's a human being that's being chased down, that's being mistreated, that's being hurt, then I got to feel that pain. And I can say, that's me right there. And I think that that's our problem right here. We don't see other people as ourselves. Okay? And we think that's their problem. And that's why we talk about cosmic identity. Because cosmic identity will take us away from the color of your skin or your eyes or your hair. Cosmic identity will put you right in contact with all the elements that give life. The earth, the wind, the fire, and the water. And you're part of this. And then cosmic identity will allow you to know that you're part of that tree. And if you chop that tree down, you're hurting yourself. The message that we had about the trees from the chief was real super important. About the message about the trees, our life. And that's our main big brother. And yet we look what we did to him, tear him down, not knowing that we're tearing our own breath away from ourselves. And so right now, as we're chasing people down and trying to throw them out of places that we think they don't belong, we're cutting our own body. We're cutting our fingers, we're cutting our toes, we're cutting our nose. So if we want to change, you know, in the direction that the earth is going and its destruction that we've done to it, you know, then we need to start, or stop, I should say. We need to stop destroying, you know, the fellow man, the human beings. Okay, so I think that once we get this cosmic identity, you know, we'll be able to take our responsibility and step forward. Okay? And mainly, one thing we always say, we're looking for allies, we're looking for helpers. We're looking for helpers and everything around us. And they're all around us if we pay attention. Okay? But we're looking for helpers who are willing to exercise a little bit of their will, you know, to change things. And I think we can change the world. Our timing is coming up. We're just real briefly, 2012 is a real important date, because what we saw here today, the sun rising, on that day the sun will also rise on that day. It'll be a day of the serpent just like today. You know, it'll be a day 3 serpent. And on that day when the sun rises, the sun himself is going to be going into a new cycle. So we should all be happy. We should all be looking forward to that. We should all be happy and rejoicing. But we're not all together. You know? And when I talked about the Mother Earth hurting, it's like a woman is going to give birth, but the child is not correctly positioned in the birth canal. And so the woman's going to bleed to death, and the child won't be born. So here we are. We have an opportunity to get back into that birth canal, get back into the rhythm of the earth. Okay? And I think that that's how we're going to change humanity on the earth, by getting back in rhythm with our Mother Earth.
So blood is precious when it's spilled. They announce it to the communities, to the counties, to the state, and to the world that blood has been spilled. Blood is precious. So when Mother Earth gets a little owie, created that maybe we have as a collective to make us come together in her plight to help. So when we ask for somebody to step up and do something, because we don't know how to do those things. We don't know nothing about drilling oil, about capping them. We don't know nothing about that, but there are people that can help, that do that. So we make a plea, somebody come forward, please do this. The blood of Mother Earth is flowing.
It goes beyond. And we will evolve with that in time. All this that is creation has said, now awaken. Awaken to this nudging. I'm speaking to you. The subtleties that is there. Spirit doesn't bring forth this lightning bolt that says, I hit you and now you know everything. No. It is the subtlety that Spirit says, I speak quiet to you. And in those quiet moments, take it, absorb it, but allow for that to stay within, because as you take that next step, and within those steps, the new ways, the new thoughts, the new teachings will continue to come. And in that coming, you will acknowledge it. But in that acknowledgement, you automatically, Spirit will allow for you to remember what it was of that last teaching. That collective will bring forth a profound enlightenment, ascension for you. What can we say? We don't know. And that is all right. It is said, just be in the most profound spiritual posture. Allow for this, the beauty of what is the two-legged silhouette, to be in its most profound stance. And know that all that is for purpose, and use it. You're given the beauty of speak it. You are given the beauty of being in connection with those that are around you. Cherish that. And allow for that moment, because they see you. They may not know you intimately, but they see you, and what they see should have the best message. And your words don't have to be memorized. Your words are simply to be in the ready surrender of Spirit. Spirit automatically is there. And as you simply step aside, then the beauty of that message comes through in such a profound way. It begins. It has been always. People are saying, wow, the times, they are accelerating so. The messages are so powerful. But understand, the messages have always been there. The fact that you're able to see it and understand it now is a beautiful affirmation on your ascension, because you are beginning to see and hear Spirit speak. And those that we call relations, those that may have crossed over, are here. And they see you, you see them. But remember, in this connection, it's not the way that it used to be. You just have to know to allow for that communication to come from within. I ask myself every single day, what must I say? What are the current events that I must be aware of? I ask Spirit. And Spirit says, you don't even think about that. Those are just the casualties of what seems to be brought forth by you. You're the problem. So therefore, allow for speak to be said in a most beautiful, loving, unconditional way. I don't need to call upon a location. I don't need to call upon an event. What I simply need to know is that there is an opportunity for us to come into intimate connection and know that what is to be spoken about will be automatically brought into consciousness as we sit. Thank you, wisdom keepers. Thank you, young ones. Thank you for those of you that are still on that journey. And look at your journey as simply being this profound unfolding. I never say I know. I don't profess to be the knower of everything. I just simply talk with Spirit and say, Spirit, what shall we talk about today? Have communications daily with this great Spirit, with this watcher. We are hitting upon beautiful forms that are there beyond what we are as the two-leggeds. But in beginning to recognize them, we need to be able to have that open surrender to realize that there is something. Be careful to label. Be careful not to label. Because in that you put it into a place, you put it into a category, and the world will either hate you or love you. Be careful how you speak of Spirit. Spirit loves you, but we must communicate in a way that brings forth a great affirmation of our journey. We need to be able to have that nurturance that says, you are doing well. Thank you for having the time with me today. And that is why we say, let Spirit speak through you. So much is to be said. But Spirit also says you are of limited capacity. So until you can open that door into this new place of ascension and frequency, let's begin from a very simple place. And let's talk about things in a very simple way. And as we do that, then we automatically begin to hit upon those subjects that we really need to bring active consciousness to. I speak of the essence that we all are, living, breathing, alive, and have that ability to communicate with everything that is of creation. There is so much that has been told and will be continually told. But we must listen each time, and each time guaranteed it will open up another door in this being of yours. You are the medicine man, you are the medicine woman, you are the priest, the priestess, you are the god, the goddess in this clan that is known as you. Begin and know that clan that is you. And as you do so, then you will have the ability to walk in a ceremonial way to all those that are around you. And the beauty that comes forth of that exchange will be so powerful. Listen to the words of all and take of it what you can understand. And then walk out to those that you call your friends and your family, your community. And in discussion, it will come out. So bring forth what you know Even if it is as simple as saying, by the by, did you know that those trees can speak? And let them hear you through those that you bring forth in powerful way. And let them learn the ways to communicate with all that is around. My spiritual job description is simply, I bring the smoke to life. And as long as I can do that, then I am doing what Spirit wishes for me to do. And I must believe and know and trust that everything that I do and every step that I take in my journey is going to be protected. And for what comes forth, it is of Spirit that says you are doing the work. Let yourself open and let yourself do the work also. And let that new speak of Spirit come through. It is not a known language. It is the essence of within. And it is also important to realize that silence is going to be the most profound ways of communication. But in the meantime, speak English. In the meantime, talk your language. Pagyo ang maupamapso. Wanya siv ju maup matapata. Nya voju ninyo maupamawiwo. Kike a hanik jim ja ibni bagyo tam me evet pamapso me a hanik jima ninyo kuwawa. You didn't need to know what was said. But with the sounds and the intonations, you knew that it was something powerful. And that is why know of what you do, how you do. Why do the masters stand in front and bring forth grand oratory? So that they can become the helpers in your journey, because they watch you. How do they react to what is being said? Whom is to know the information now, and whom is to be given other information? We are all at different stages in that journey, so therefore honor the stage that you're at. Don't compare yourself with anyone next to you. Know that what you're understanding is what you are to understand. There's no wrong in what your journeys are or what your choosings are. Spirit said, I created you, and I created each one of you individually and uniquely. Therefore, honor it and step with such profound grace. And know that within this silhouette, let it be the most profound it can be.
Each one of you have symbols. It's called a name. And you got to see it as you as a very powerful human being. Now, the symbols. The Spirit told us just the one symbol. The first symbol they gave us was the universal law of free will. They said it takes two moons to understand the law. For the law carries messages and guardians from the earth's nations, and that of the stars, and that of the ascended master realms. The second one was the spiritual freedom of humanity or of man. The third was called the universal law of change. Fourth, the universal law of spiritual growth of humanity. Then there was the universal law of movement and balance, and the spiritual strength, health, and happiness. The universal law of innocence, truth, and family, and the spiritual protection of family. The universal law of symmetry and the spiritual law of equality. There was this universal law of life.
As a master within, the first thing you should know that as you proceed on your path, you must stay clear. You must become clear in yourself. And forgiveness is first. You must be totally forgiven of yourself and others. so that you may proceed. The second is to know that you're sacred, that you are sacred, and all of the things that are around you are sacred with you, that you exist because they exist too, that you are part of them and they are part of you. There is no separation. Third, you have the oneness with the divinity and the Creator, because that proceeds with the Creator allowing all and everything to be shown to you as a gift to who you are and making you 100% of pure light. This is what you are able to achieve. If you proceed in the manner that you are going through, this is received to me and channeled by me through all of the ancestors that are there right now. This world is known for illusions, and many of it is the experience that you planned. And because of that, know that each portion of it that comes in as an object, and it also allows you to feel this emotionally. This is all part of the experience that you wanted. You wanted this. Be thankful for that experience. If you do fall on the ground going through this path, be thankful for it because you planned it. Oh my goodness, I planned this thing. Yes, you did. Be thoughtful and know what is the message. What did you receive from that message as you proceed along your trail? Yes, no money. Oh, I don't have any money. Ask for the abundance and you shall receive. Money is not everything, but definitely if you move with the spiritualness of this path, you will receive all of God's divine way. That is the path, and that's the path to freedom. Thank you.
Reflect, emanate, radiate the beauty of what this is of the Great Spirit. Honor the tools that are there, but remember the ultimate medicine tool is you in this form that we call the true blessings.